Lesson C11, the last one you're going to be watching a video for. Tomorrow's we'll be working on in class as we are working with the next unit as we finish the unit and get ready for your review. Raising a number in scientific notation to a power. So we're going to compare our quantities using scientific. We should be able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, and then working in this case, displaying it on our computers and calculators are our standards. So our rule before, remember, when we had x to the fourth and we raised it to the third power, we multiplied. We took x to the 4 times 3 and we ended up with x to the 12th. You are now going to take the scientific notation to a power. That means you're going to take the 3.2 to a power of 3. So on your calculator, and if you have not taken out your calculator at this point, please take it out. You're going to put in 3.2 and raise it to the third power. When you put in 3.2 to the third power, you should end up with 32.768. Then you're going to take the 10 to the fourth and you're going to raise it to the power. That gives us times 10 to the 12th. Remember, you're multiplying those when you power to a power. So at this point, we have our answer as 32.768 times 10 to the 12th. We cannot leave it in this form because this number needs to be in scientific notation between 1 and 10. If it's going to be between 1 and 10, we need our decimal to be between the 3 and 2. So we have 3.27, and in this case we'd probably round it to 28. You could put the other numbers behind here, but usually in scientific notation for a big number, we can write that with 2 numbers. I would also take 3.2768 times, and now this was supposed to move 12 places. It will now move times 10 to the 13th power. Again, if you need to pause it and take a look at this a little closer, please make sure you do so. You are now asked to evaluate on the top of the next page 7 times 10 to the fourth raised to the third power. You're going to start off with 7 to the third times 10 to the fourth, and if you want to just put times 3, you could do that. 7 to the third on our calculator, if you haven't remembered this one from the beginning, was 343 times 10 to the 12th. If we are looking at that, we now need to write our first number in scientific notation. 3.43 times 10. Here was the decimal. It was to move 12 places. Now it would move 13, 14 places. I would also like you to try one more. Put this one, there should be plenty of space. I want you to write 2.4 times 10 to the third raised to the negative 2. We haven't had many with negative exponents. So again, 2.4 to the negative 2 power. And this time, instead of doing reciprocal, since it's scientific notation, we're going to get it as a decimal. So when you put that in your calculator, we'll take a look at that. And then we're going to have times 10, and remember you're taking 3 times negative 2, so we might want to write it that way. When you put in your calculator, and so we're just going to look at your calculator, and we're going to look at putting in 2.4 to the negative 2. So 2.4, and I'm going to raise it to the 2, and on my calculator I put negative, and it comes out 0.1736 repeating 1. So I'm going to write this as 0.173, and it's times 10 to the negative 6. Now again, I can't leave it in this form. This first number is not between 1 and 10. So I write it as 1.73 times 10. Oh, remember it was supposed to move 6 places this way, but now when I put it here, it's going to be minus 7. Again, pause it if you need to. Go back, make sure you're using your calculator and understanding. Now the real world application. One side of a square is a microchip is 2.4 meters long. Now, let's think about this. Here's our square. If we're finding the volume, it's saying that this side is 2.4 times 10 to the negative 5. That means this side is also 2.4 times 10 to the negative 5. So we're going to be squaring this because that's our square. To find the area of a square, we're going to take 2.4 times 10 to the negative 5. This is going to be to the second power. That's our length and width. And then it says going back, it is 1.6 times 10 to the negative 8. So we're going to be combining our operations in this one. First, we're going to do the power of 2's. So we are going to take 2.4 to the second times 10 to the negative 5 to the second. I also have this 1.6 times 10 to the negative 8. I'm going to put 2.4 squared in my calculator. That comes out to be 5.76 times, I'm going to regroup my numbers, so I'm going to put these two together, times 1.6. Then I have my 10 to a power. What was this first 10 to a power? It was 10 to the negative 10 times 10 to the negative 8. This is going to end up being 10 to the negative 18. Remember, you add when you multiply. And now we're going to multiply 5.76 times 1.6. That gives us 9.2 times 10 to the negative 18 as a solution. So make sure that you're understanding how this problem is a little different. Tomorrow in class, we're going to be looking at the C11 worksheet, so this will be on Monday. We'll look at this worksheet to go through and make sure that you've done all your notes and you're ready. We are going to be ready for the test soon.